I think the hard thing about being a Christian college student is that you either find a church or you don't, and then you have to go home and explain why you haven't found one, or try to explain what the merits of the church you found are.
Whenever clouds start gathering to cover up the sun, it really doesn't mean a thing to me.
I think a lot of my parents' friends, as well as my parents, viewed church going in a certain light based on their experience, and then when my brother and I would come home and explain rather awkwardly whether or not we were going to a certain church, that awkward is the word. It's when you're not quite an adult, but you're old enough to make your own decisions about your own spiritual habits. Sometimes you're not going to have the same habits as your parents or as your parents' friends. And for both me and Michael, church was a tricky subject while we were at Northwestern. I can't speak for him now because I'm not there and that's not my business. But at the time we had conversations about this and we agreed that it was really difficult to feel like we fit and then come home and try to explain why we didn't fit. I also know this isn't abnormal for college students. I've talked to a lot of college students who have this problem. A lot of them were at Northwestern too. It wasn't until I was a senior that I found a church that I really liked. What made this church different was that it had college students, yes, but the congregation was formed by people who had left other churches they had felt burnt by in Orange City and the surrounding area. When I did attend church, it was there. I was grateful to finally find a place I was happy to be. I actually was either excited or at least okay with going to church while I was at school my last year. Now that I'm in Ames, I go to the church where Julia's family goes, and I like it. I haven't gone anywhere else. I know I've been invited to different places. Honestly, it's not that I'm unwilling to try something else. It's that I've finally found a place that I feel both welcome and satisfied, I guess. I'm not looking for the perfect music or the perfect pastor or the perfect group of people to welcome me all the time. I'm not in college anymore, so that element of extra stress and not knowing where you fit it looks different when you're not in college. And because I no longer fit that box, so to speak, attending a Reformed church as an adult, having not known what to do with the Reformed church while I was in college, I pretty much rejected it. Not because I disagreed with all the theology, because honestly, like, church to church, a lot of things are just tradition instead of just interpreting the Bible slightly differently. I avoided attending Reformed churches while I was at Northwestern, partly because I had come from a different background than that. I was accustomed to a church where we didn't follow a lot of the older traditions of churches. It was a little more modernized, and obviously the church that I came from at home was very unique and held a special place in my heart when I left it, and so it was really hard to find something that made me as satisfied as that church had. Now that I go back, I realize a lot of that was because I had people who loved me and wanted to see me every week. It wasn't as much about whether my home church was stronger in music or the pastor was better, although I am happiest with those two elements of my home church out of all the churches I've gone to. But now that I'm going to a church regularly again, I don't know, like, I still don't know the names of most of the people that attend church with me, but they at least recognize who I am now, and they associate me with a certain group of people, and so I never feel like I'm alone there. And I always felt like I was alone at churches in Orange City, regardless of whether I was going with someone or not.